show. Let's see what has been happening in the wrestling world. Welcome to the show, where comedy meets wrestling by fans for fans. The Two Count, always the best guests in Midwest. The Two Count, wait time guaranteed because we're the best of the best. Need to be Ace and JR, Top Shelf Tommy, we're about to start. Welcome to the Two Count. It's time to dig deep into the wrestling world. Welcome to the Two Count, where comedy meets wrestling by fans for fans. The Two Count.
The Two Count. The Two Count, where comedy meets wrestling. Please comment, share, like, and start a hype train for God's sakes. And now, here are the hosts of The Two Count. Comedian John Russell, wrestling broadcaster Big Ace, and everybody's favorite heel, Top Shelf Tommy.
Ah, baby, it's Two Count Tuesday. Ooh.
That is the most excited JR has been all day.
I know. It is, and one of the reasons I'm excited is because we have a great show tonight with a great guest, and I'm happy to be here with two of my best pals.
Oh God, he's brown nosing already.
Discount and Ace.
I don't see Discount, so it's
Yeah,
still only counts.
I saw him before.
He'll be back later. He went to the bed.
But it's awesome.
Fair.
It's awesome to see you guys. Hello, Tina. Good to see you. Good to see all of you. Happy that you guys are joining with us. I know you guys had stuff. You didn't have a show last weekend, did you? What the hell?
Did you get through that all right?
I don't know. I'm just blathering. But we do have.
Stop being so senile and just let's get to the point.
I honest to God, I can't help it. I don't know if I told you this. I don't know if I mentioned this last week. I have a laptop that I use for work, and I get frazzled because we're in the midst of putting up new models of, some people know, some people don't. I work for a major television company, TV man. Anyway, the point is, so we're in the midst of putting up new products, and we have a third party that comes in and does them, and without fail, they fuck it up. And so then I have to go and not only do what I'm supposed to do, but try to fix the displays, and then get out of it. And then I get super stressed. And I left one of the stores here in the Twin Cities, and I got about 10 minutes away when I found out that I had left my laptop at the store. So then I had to go back. So that was a fucked up lunch.
Hey, guess what, old man? We heard the same story last week.
I told you to tell me if I had said it.
Yeah, but you know what? Sometimes when you get on a roll, I don't want to interrupt you. Most of the time I will, but not.
There's nothing great about that story.
Here we go.
All
right.
And I get forgetful. But
Yeah,
anyway, we got all sorts of.
What is going on?
Perfect.
Why are we
got
doing
all sorts
this?
of stuff going on? I'm just gonna. You guys go ahead.
Ace, why don't we get an intro from you if we could? All right.
That's right. We're excited to have this guest on. Me and Tommy got to meet him at Madhouse. We got to see him. He worked the lovable James Jeffries. Not as lovable because his name doesn't have lovable in it. Maybe like this one better, though. It is the man, Nasty Nic Nolan.
That's right.
It's the man of the hour, man of the power, too sweet to be sour.
I love it.
Coming in with some hype. We love it. Nice, Nick. Hell yeah.
Well, I mean, the poor guy just died. I want to pay some respect to Billy Graham. I love Billy Graham.
Yeah.
That's right, my friend.
Yeah, man.
Loving tribute right there. Well, welcome, Nick. Obviously, we are the Two Count. We love having everybody on that we can get. Give us a little bit about yourself. Like, what do we need to know about Nasty Nic Nolan to start off with?
What you need to know is Nasty Nic Nolan is the absolute best wrestler in the world right now. completely
Well,
under
there
the
you go.
radar, and that's okay. It's essentially, I like to tell people, get in now at the ground level while Bitcoin is 25 cents, because when it takes off, you're going to want to say you were there from the beginning. So long story short, I'm taking over the wrestling world, literally one day at a time, one show at a time, and loving the opportunity to do it because it was a long road to get here.
Yeah, man, I'm interested to hear about this road now. Again, generally we don't like to dive super into like your training and stuff. We want to know more about the passion behind it. But you've been to some notable schools. You've been learning from some really great people. So why don't you tell us what were the 3 schools that you went to there?
So when I first started wrestling, the first coach I had was Lance Storm up in Calgary, Canada. So I trained there with him. That class that I was in, very, very successful in wrestling. Some people made it to WWE, AAA, Ring of Honor. It was a great class, time of my life. And it was a long time ago. But after that, I don't have this in my Instagram bio, but I'll tell you guys here. I was trained a little bit for about 2 months by Tommy Dreamer, who actually came up with my first wrestling name, which was Nick Owens. And that's what I was going to use. But then Kevin Owens came around and it's like, okay, brother, he does it on TV. You can't do it. You're copying him, even though I had it first. And that's a fact.
What a jerk.
What a dick. Yeah. And then after that, I went to Brian Kendrick, who, am I still on? I just see
still on.
Oh,
You just
okay.
moved it so it's just you.
Spotlight.
Okay, yeah, Spotlight. I went to Brian Kendrick, who is without a doubt the most underrated, underappreciated person in wrestling. He is the most passionate person I've ever met in wrestling. And I tell him this all the time, because he's someone I respect, I admire. He's really helped me more than anybody else has. And I always like to give him his flowers while he's, still wrestling, still doing his thing, because people need to know, Brian Kendrick is the smartest man in wrestling, and that's undisputed. I mean, William Regal says the same thing, and that's his mentor. And then after Brian, I came to Davenport and trained with Seth Rollins, Merrick Brave, and Crotch, and they've been great. I mean, I send Seth just about every match that I have, and he gives me feedback, and he'll tell you straight to your face, like, that shit fucking sucked. I hated it. And it's like, what the fuck am I doing? I should quit. But, when someone like that tells you and kind of guides you on how to better yourself, you get a lot better a lot quicker. And, with the frequency that I'm speaking with him in regards to my matches and him giving me advice on what to do, I feel I only started doing shows since middle of November, maybe beginning of December. And my character has completely changed from when I first started. And that's because of Brian. That's because of Seth and them just kind of guiding me on how to, work psychology and showmanship and things like that. So I feel a lot more comfortable now in my own skin. I'm not really, so when you last saw me at Madhouse, that's not the character I'm doing now. So I had a match with Rhino a couple of weeks ago, and that kind of flipped the switch in my character, so to speak, to make it more edgier, because it was an Extreme Rules match. And I actually asked for that because I'm a fucking mark and I wanted to get gored through a table.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, so to pull the curtain back a little bit, he did impact the night before and got concussed. So we weren't able to do too much. We were limited. And I'm so grateful he even came by, because he didn't know me. He didn't, he didn't have to come, and for him to come and trust me to take care of him, not to hit him in the head with a punch or something like that. That's something I really appreciate, because during that whole match, I was able to kind of slow down my thought process. Okay, I can't hit this guy in the head. What am I going to do? And everything just kind of seemed like slow mo. It was a good slow motion because it just flowed. But I was able to kind of just learn how to protect somebody, think clearly while I perform. And I learned so much from him. And the guy, he was sitting in the dark for 2.5 hours before our match, and we were putting it together. And he was like, "What do you want to do?" "Okay, let's do this, this, and that." "Oh, that's a great idea. Let's do this." And for him to give me his body, I couldn't. He's the nicest guy I've ever met, in wrestling. So I really appreciate Rhino. And it's crazy because I used to watch this guy growing up on TV,
Yeah, what's going through your head at that moment when you're like, I watched this guy on TV and now I'm getting gored?
So I didn't get gored. Because he was concussed. Yeah.
Okay.
So I didn't get gored because he was concussed. But we did what we could, as best as we could. We're gonna meet again down the line, and it's gonna be one hell of a fucking match because I already know going on out there. I still want to prove that I belong, and I know he wants to show that he can still do this at an elite level. Shit, this guy's still on TV. He just had an Impact World Title match the night before, so he's still at an elite level. But I want to go out there with him and just tear it down, like how I know we can.
Yeah.
And I'm to be honest, I'm very happy with the match that I had with him, because at the end of the day, I can say I at least wrestled Rhino.
Oh, yeah.
But to answer your question about how it felt, so he was actually at my very first show that I ever did in 2013 at Tommy Dreamer's House of Hardcore 2. And he actually wrestled Kevin Owens there. That's funny.
Nice.
Who was Kevin Steen at the time.
Yep.
But, fast forwarding to now, seeing him, I wasn't like, "Oh man, that's crazy. I see this guy on TV." You don't really have time to think about that.
Yeah.
At least during the match. And before the match, I mean, I've met him before, it's just like, whatever. It's just Rhino. But it's still like looking back at it from now. It's still just like, wow, that's crazy. I was just watching a match with him against Batista that I was actually at in the crowd. And it's like, wow, that's crazy. I know what that feels like. I know what that is. So in that aspect, being a fan and looking back on these things and being able to experience it, that's really cool. And, I don't care if that sounds like I'm a fucking mark. We're all fucking marks, Right. We're all doing this because we love it.
Yep. 100%.
We're all doing this because we're fans. Yeah. So it doesn't matter, Like I remember going to Black and Brave the first day, which was called Day Zero. No joke. The hardest workout of my life. And it was only a year ago. So I'm sure there's going to be plenty of opportunities for other hard workouts, but hardest workout of my life. And I remember seeing him, Seth Rollins, for the first time. And it's like, wow, that's fucking crazy. He was just on Raw last night. And now he's just walking in and now he's showing me how to do box jumps and the fucking bike that he has and all that, So, but, as time passes, you get to know them. Then they're just normal people, just like anybody else. And you get to know how they are, what pisses them off, build a relationship with them and all that. But when you first meet them, it's still like, oh man, that's crazy. And I'll say, like, when Becky was there too, she's there all the time. It's like, holy shit, that's Becky Lynch. She main evented WrestleMania. That's fucking nuts. And now she's just sitting by herself doing fucking squats, and that's me being a mark,
Yeah.
But when you're there, you don't bother them. You just hopefully just think this stuff in your head and keep it to yourself.
Right.
But yeah, looking back on things and being able to be in the position I'm in now, I'm very fortunate because I couldn't wrestle for about 6, almost 7 years. And long story short, it's because life happens. I was living in California. California's expensive. Then COVID happened and that stopped everything for another 2 years, But, to be able to come here, work with them, just be in a position where I'm able to afford to wrestle, because you need to be able to pay your bills, and starting out, you're not making money. You're always losing money, no matter what. You can be like, hey, my rate's $50. Oh, sorry, brother, that's too much. $50 is nothing. I'm driving 4 hours to your show.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Know the feeling.
But
Know the feeling.
Yeah, man.
But sometimes you just have to bite the bullet, show that you're worth more, and then the money starts coming in.
Well, and that's where that love's tested. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you love it, you end up sticking it out. You know what I mean? Like, and that it is. That's kind of the make or break. It's like, if you can't handle that early part where you are not making money and you are driving 5 hours in the car just to get to that show, but you're doing it with a smile on your face and you're having the time of your life. Like, me and Tom always talk about.
No, I'm not driving there with a smile on my face.
Yeah,
I'm not driving there with a smile on my face.
Well,
but, you know, I just drove 6 hours to Minnesota for MAW, and I love those guys.
Yeah.
Like, they took care of me in ways I couldn't even imagine. You know, they paid me way more than I asked for, which was nice. And I had so much fun. Like, the drive there sucked. I did it by myself.
Oh, yeah.
You know, usually you get a car of guys and girls and you all go to the show. But I was the only one in this area that was booked on that show. So I did it by myself. And that drive was so long. Long. But once I got there, you know, meeting everybody, and, you know, I wrestled this guy named The System.
Yep.
I think he was trained. I don't know. You know,
Past guest.
yeah, he was trained
Past guest.
by. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
He's awesome. I love working with him. He's fun, you know, and it's one of those things where we didn't put together too much, but everything flowed so nicely, you know. And I think he was trained by Ken Anderson, or he still goes there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's nice when someone else is trained by someone who knows the business and is very successful in the business, because that gives them, you know, a couple of steps ahead of everybody else. And once you get in the ring with somebody like that, it makes life a lot easier, because wrestling is hard. You know, you got to worry about protecting yourself, protecting your opponent. You have to improvise. You have to, oh, something happened. I got to change this. Oh, he hurt his leg. I got to do this. Yeah, anything can happen at any time. You can get hurt at any time. And to be able to work with someone who has experience, that knows how to handle things like that. Because there was times in our match where we kind of, I don't want to say got lost. It was just it didn't go as planned exactly. We weren't lost. Like, it wasn't like deer in a headlight kind of thing. It was more like, oh shit, you're on the other side of the ring. We have to be over here. How are we going to do this?
Right.
Live. You have one shot to do it. And it worked out. You know, we just did our thing and made it back to where we had to go. You know, and that comes from experience, and that's something that I can really appreciate. He didn't freak out. So he's a good kid. He's fun to watch. He's fun to wrestle. And I really hope I get to wrestle him again, you know, because it was kind of, for our match, it was kind of the backstory to another feud he was going into. So it wasn't really the focal point. But I know if we have a program together, just tear it down.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, I've known the system for a long, long time. And and watching you at Madhouse, I know for sure. I wish I would have been there, to be real honest with you and stuff. That sounds like a hell of a matchup between the two of you. That's for sure.
Yeah, it was great. He's a good kid.
So you trained with all these names. You were obviously fans of all these guys before you go in. So when did that fandom start for you with wrestling? Because that's just the thing. Like I said, we tend to not usually talk about the actual training and all that. It's more of, where did the passion come from? Where did the love come from? Because this is a very crazy world that we're all involved in. You know what I mean? And people who don't know about it have like no clue, but it's a crazy world. It's a very much like a family, the whole dynamic of that world. But like, what made you a fan of this to the point that you're like, that's what I have to do?
I have chill. I don't know if you can see it, but I have chills like thinking about it. So the very first memory I have of wrestling, I had to have been maybe 3 or 4 years old. And the only reason why I remember this is because it scared the shit out of me. So it was The Undertaker and Yokozuna, and the ropes were red, white, and blue. So I think it was Great American Bash or something. And I stopped watching wrestling because The Undertaker was absolutely terrifying. So I didn't really grow up a fan of wrestling from like 6 years old. I watched Hulk Hogan, brother. I want to be a wrestler. It wasn't any of that. So the very first show that I went to was SmackDown at Madison Square Garden.
Nice.
Yeah, it was. I feel like the date was June. Either it aired on June 27th or the actual show is June 27th, 2003. And this wasn't what made me want to be a wrestler, but the first match I've ever seen in person was John Cena versus Orlando Jordan. And this was before John Cena was John Cena.
Yep. Dang,
Let's answer. Orlando Jordan, yeah.
Wow. All right.
And so the main event that night was, I don't remember who was on whose teams, but so I think it was Team Angle and Kurt Angle versus Brock. What the fuck was this, right? Brock Lesnar, Mr. America, and like Big Show or something like that.
Yeah.
What the fuck, right? So I'm watching it, and this is cool. Wrestling's fun. Yay. Oh, look, F5. Oh, choke slam. Cool. But at the end of the show, everyone cleared out of the ring, and Mr. America was in the ring. And he was, for those who don't know who Mr. America is, I didn't know at the time because I was 12, 13. It's Hulk Hogan. So he was under this like a luchador mask and red, white, and blue instead of red and yellow.
So great.
So after the show, after the cameras are off, he goes into the ring and starts doing his Hulk Hogan thing, the pose and brother, all this stuff. And I remember there's only been 2 times in my life, and they were both at wrestling events, where the building was shaking. And that's one of them. So he was doing that. And I remember, because I was pretty high up, I remember like looking down and around the arena, and it was just insane. You can literally feel the electricity in the building. And the building was rocking. And I remember looking at Hulk Hogan, and he lifted up his mask and like went like this. Because Vince was like, I know you're Hulk Hogan. Yep. Oh, you can't fool me, like that whole thing. He took lie detector tests and all that.
Oh, yeah. It was hilarious.
And then he's like, I'm not Hulk Hogan, brother. But he lifted up this mask and told everyone to be quiet. And right then and there, the crowd erupted, right? And that's when I don't know if you can see this, but I have chills.
Oh, yeah.
Right then and there, I knew I wanted to be a wrestler. And it was the first show I ever went to. And it's crazy to think, the people I grew up watching wanted to be wrestlers because of Hulk Hogan. And I'm kind of a generation after them, but still wind up being influenced by Hulk Hogan to an extent to want to do this. And I was 13. I was like, hey, Dad, I want to be a wrestler. He's like, okay, yeah, whatever. You'll grow out of it. Yeah. And here we are 20 years later. I want to be a wrestler. But yeah, so it was that moment in Madison Square Garden where I knew I wanted to be a wrestler. But what cemented it for me, where I remember exactly what I was doing, exactly where I was. I was in my apartment in Brooklyn, New York, watching SmackDown on UPN,
yes,
eating General Tso's chicken, pork fried rice.
Wait for that Moesha commercial to end and get back to the show.
So I'm watching, and it's a cage match with JBL and Eddie Guerrero. And Eddie Guerrero climbs to the cage, top of the cage. And I think JBL might have been the champion at the time, and this was just one of their rematches. But Eddie could have just left the cage and became champion. And I remember he was standing on top of the cage and just like looking around, and then did the frog splash off the top of the cage. I literally picked up, like during the pin, when he was pinning JBL, I literally picked up my phone and called my dad. Hey, Dad, I want to be a wrestler. Okay, yeah, sure, whatever. You want to be a wrestler? It'll pass. And so it's Hulk Hogan, it's Eddie Guerrero, and I mean, I'm probably getting ahead of myself here, but my favorite wrestler ever is Edge. And when you see the passion that he has behind wrestling, and you can see it in his face and you can hear it in his voice when he's cutting promos, especially around 2005. That's when I really got into wrestling, when Evolution was there, Triple H, the Reign of Terror, which I fucking loved. I love Triple H. So I was like, yeah, he's beating everybody. you know, growing up during that era, going to these shows and meeting some wrestlers. The first wrestler I ever met in person was Carlito.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And,
Dude, his pop at Backlash was insane.
dude, Puerto Rico is...
Whew.
If they have Backlash every year in Puerto Rico, I don't think anyone would complain.
That one, and then just watching Bad Bunny coming out over and over again. That's just
Yeah.
like
And
that'll make you want to get into like entertainment. I don't know what's wrong with you because
yeah, you know, and I'm Puerto Rican myself, even though I don't sound it or look it or anything, you know. But so the first wrestler I met was Carlito, and I remember it was in the hotel. It was at SummerSlam 2005,
nice.
and he was just waking up or had a long night. His eyes were bloodshot, right? And I'm like, oh man, hey Carlito, can I take a picture with you? And he's like, oh, yeah, sure. So I run to the little newsstand they have over there, and I grab an apple. And I run back to Carlito, and I take a picture with him with an apple. And you know, it's little things like that make me appreciate where I am now. Because I remember being that kid going up to a wrestler and being like, oh, hey, yo, can I take a picture? Oh, it's so cool. You know? And yeah, I met, oh man, that day, I'm sorry, I'm just going on a tangent.
Dude, let's hear it. These are great. These are the stories we
love.
But
that day, I met so many people, you know, like this was when Randy Orton wasn't the nicest person in the world. And I got to experience that. Mae Young, Fabulous Moolah, really, really sweet women. Who else did I run? John Cena was cool. Hulk Hogan. Now, here's the thing with Hulk Hogan, brother. So this was right when Shawn Michaels was feuding with Hulk Hogan, and Shawn Michaels was kind of shooting on Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
And he's talking about, oh, you know, when the cameras are on, brother, it's a whole different story. Oh, take your vitamins, say your prayers, all that stuff. But when the cameras are off, Hulk Hogan couldn't care less about you.
It's Miller time.
Right. And I saw that, you know, because there was people when the cameras weren't on, hey, Hulk, can I have an autograph? And he's just like walking by everybody and not paying any mind. And then all of a sudden they start filming for Hogan Knows Best. And oh, he's fucking Hulk Hogan. The switch got flipped, and he's, oh yeah, brother, let me sign this. Oh, how are you, brother? He's holding kids and shit. And I took a picture with him, and he was nice to me. So I mean, that was cool. I got to meet Hulk Hogan, and it's funny because I didn't even realize that's the reason why I wanted to be a wrestler. I actually met that guy, and I didn't put two and two together until right now, which is crazy.
Oh, nice.
But that day, I will never forget because Triple H was on. He was taking some time off. Excuse me. He was taking some time off, and he came out of the elevator with Stephanie and like Maria or something, and then all these people swarm him when he's talking to Mae Young and Fabulous Moolah, and they're like, "Oh, can we have a picture? Can we do this?" And he's like, "Guys, can I have a conversation? Like, please?" And they're like, "Oh, sorry." So when he's done talking, I go up to him and I'm like, you know, Triple H, I'm 15 years old at the time. And I'm like, oh, you know, Triple H, you're my favorite wrestler. You're my hero. Can I have an autograph? And he's like, yeah, let me just put my stuff in the car. So I book my ass up that elevator real quick, right? I'm outside way before he is. And I see the limo that he's going to. So I'm standing next to the limo. I see him coming down. And then I look in I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. I literally stuck my head. The limo door was open. And I literally stuck my head in the limo and like looked, right? I look and I see fucking Vince and Shane McMahon sitting in the back, right?
Yes.
So I'm like, I think I said this. I was like, holy shit, it's Vince McMahon. And I'm like, oh, can I have your autograph? And he's like, oh, you know, I'm in the car. I'm like, please. He's like, oh, okay. Right. So he takes my ticket. It was like you print those big tickets and it's on the front, it's just blank on the back. And I had a bunch of people sign that. So he's about to sign. Right. And I see Triple H coming. I take the pen and snatch the paper out of Vince's hands and give it to Triple H. What? And I give it to Triple H. And he puts his like big ass suitcase in the trunk and people are swarming him. And he's just like, get away from me. And then he sees me. And then he takes my paper and pen and he writes, I'm HH. And then the limo driver or something bumps into him, and he just gave him like this death. He was probably really irritated that day, and that probably pissed him off even more. So then he starts writing it again. I'm HHH. So I have an I'm a double H and an I'm triple H autograph.
Nice.
So yeah, man, Triple H. Yeah, I'm so bummed he had to retire.
Yeah.
You know,
What I would give to hear the conversation when he got in that limo after that, and they're like, he took the pen from me. Hang on, sorry. He took the goddamn pen from me to get your autograph, damn it. Like, oh my God.
It's crazy because, yeah, I know who Vince McMahon was, but I guess I didn't realize who Vince McMahon was because I saw it as, oh shit, this is the only time I can get Triple H's autograph. Yeah. I gotta be there, you know? Yeah. And so I made sure I was there, and it was a great experience. And I would have loved to have Vince's, but at the end of the day, if I had to choose between Hunter and Vince, I choose Hunter.
Oh man. The only thing that would have made that story even better is as he took the pen from him and ducked out, you just look back real quick though, and you go, Brett did screw Brett, and then leave.
You would say that, wouldn't you, Ace? Jeez, Louise, I tell you.
Because it's true.
Hey, Mikey.
That's amazing. Those are those moments that we all like. That's what you want.
Yeah, I have one more.
Yeah.
Oh, please.
Royal Rumble 2008, Madison Square Garden. So I'm out there. I went with my uncle who worked at the NHL store. He had to work before the show, so I was there by myself. And, the wrestlers are coming in. I see like Randy. I met Cody Rhodes that day. He was so nice. And this was when he was brand new. So was he going to be a dick? And he just debuted like 2 weeks before this.
Possibly, yes.
I swear to God, though, that guy is just super nice.
Yeah, he's really, really nice.
Over the years, and every time, just nice.
Yeah, he was. And so I remember, it's so weird how you remember these small details. Like, how do I remember this? And you can put yourself, when I close my eyes, I can see exactly where I was. So there was a red Dodge Charger that came down. And it was Tommy Dreamer and Edge. Right. And they parked their car. And right about this time, the NYPD came. And so across the street from Madison Square Garden is where the wrestlers park their car. It's an underground garage. Right. So you have to come down the block, turn right, and then go down into the garage. Madison Square Garden is right on the left. So there was so many people there just waiting for the wrestlers and get autographs and all that. The police came and cleared everybody out except me. For some reason. So I'm standing there. I'm like, don't move because they'll see me. They'll see me and somebody get out of here. So I was wearing Edge's Rated R hockey jersey. And so I see him coming up the ramp with his bags. And this is when he was world heavyweight champion. He was about to wrestle Rey Mysterio. He was on right before he wrestled The Undertaker at WrestleMania. This was like prime Edge, right? And so he's coming up. And people are asking him for autographs, and he's like ignoring everybody. And I'm like, "Hey Edge, can you sign my jersey?" And I guess he was like, "Okay, he's wearing my jersey. I'd be an asshole if I didn't." So he grabs my pen. It was a silver Sharpie, and he starts writing on the jersey. Right, the fucking lid is on, and so he's like, "Oh, dude, I gotta go." And then he gives me back my pen, and I'm just standing there like I'm about to fucking cry. This is my favorite wrestler, And so I undid it and ran, like tried to get him to sign it, but he was like long gone by that time. I don't know how the hell he teleported to Madison Square Garden that quick, but he was out. But there's no hard feelings. He's still my favorite wrestler, and the fact that he stopped, when he was a heel, and back then they were still in character and stuff outside the shows. I'm happy. I would love to get it signed someday. I actually plan, if I can get my passport in time, I actually plan to go to his last match in Toronto. Nice. I think he said his last match is going to be in August when SmackDown's in Toronto. So I want to go to that, even though I know that's probably not going to be his last match.
Gotta be a premium live event.
It'll probably be his last match in Toronto, which
Yeah.
Dude, if they can somehow manage to get fucking Christian over and wrestle him in Toronto, that'd be fucking nuts.
That would be.
Hey,
You know, because
Tony
it's like,
Khan said he's always wanted to make a
really
deal.
wish-
So
Yeah,
Oh,
but you know, outside WWE, nothing exists. You know,
Yeah,
so.
yeah. It ain't gonna happen now. He's back on the board. You know, I have a really fun Edge story that, like, to me, it's one of those moments like your time where you could remember, you could close your eyes and just picture it. Like they do Waterloo does a Hall of Fame because of the National Wrestling Hall of Fame's over there. Dan Gable, amateur wrestling. You've probably heard about all this since you're in Iowa. But they do that every year, and we go to it every year. And he was there one year getting inducted, and all weekend, me and my former co-host were like, "Dude, can we just do like 10-minute interview, 10-minute?" Like, and this is after he's retired, Hall of Fame. And all weekend he's like, I will, but I just can't right now. Maybe tomorrow, you know. And then finally, like the banquet is over. We're in the ballroom. Everybody's getting pictures. And he's like, yes, no, I did tell you I would do this. Just let me take all these pictures real quick. So like we waited like a half hour. Other people were asking. And he was like, no. Only these guys, because I told him I would. So we start finally getting to interview him. And I think 15 minutes in, I look up and the place is empty. It's literally me, dude, Edge, and the people cleaning the tables. And we went for like another 25 minutes. And at the end of the 25 minutes, he was like, you guys good? I mean, are you sure? And we're like, yeah, man.
What?
You're good, dude. Like, as just the nicest guy, dude. It was great. Him and Beth. I've had a few different interactions with Beth. I've gotten to know her a little bit. She's just top notch.
And it's great because they always say don't meet heroes because you're always going to be disappointed. I was so fortunate, you know, because he could have easily said no. You know.
don't worry, that's just Mr. Luke Raven from Madhouse there. He'd just mark himself there.
Yeah. I was so fortunate for him and Triple H, you know, to be so nice to stop for me. I mean, who knows? Had Triple H been like, fuck you, kid, I would have been like, fuck wrestling, I hate this shit. And I would have been talking to you guys right now.
Right.
or the same thing with Edge. You know, I would have just disappeared and lived as a hermit for the rest of my life, wondering what if, you know, but I'm just so fortunate and happy that they were able to do that for me. And it really just, talking about it now kind of just reinvigorates the passion I have for wrestling. You know, like we were talking about before, when kids come up to me and like want autographs, it's like, that's crazy to me, you know. I love to do it, even though I'm an asshole in the ring, or you know.
Yeah.
But
they love it.
Yeah, they do. You know, and I just can't be a dick outside because I know what it's like to be that kid. You know, and I know what it's like to have someone be like, no. And it sucks.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you wait all this time after a show or before a show to try to meet someone you admire, and they just ignore you and walk by. And it's like, damn.
Yeah.
You know, like, fuck that guy. Who
Well,
the fuck do you think you are? Like, this is a 6-year-old kid.
Right.
You know, how are you going to tell him no? Yes, I understand you're a fucking character, but how are you going to tell some kid no?
Dude,
like, if it's an adult, he wants you to sign all these Funko Pop things, like, you can go fuck yourself. I'm not going to do that. But when it's kids, it's completely different because they don't know any better, and it's real.
Right.
You know,
right.
You're like, we're on the indies, but to them, we're as big as, you know, WWE because we're right in front of them.
Yeah,
of course.
So to be able to do that for them, I love doing that. You know, and I try to. I don't think I've turned anyone down yet. Maybe I should.
I've only had one bad experience meeting wrestlers, and it was Honky Tonk Man. He did the same. He told no to his kid.
The fuck, right?
He told
like,
no. Yeah, he told this kid no, who was my boss's grandson. And then I was there at the radio station, and he like yelled at me because he had his arm was in a cast because of a bad stunt gone wrong at a car dealership with his guitar. And I was like 3 feet behind him. I wasn't even near his arm, and he just started screaming. But I got to watch, and this is a way better experience than meeting Honky Tonk Man any day. I got to experience him getting fired before the show even started that day from the promoter while just casually having a conversation with Larry Zbyszko and Nick Botwinkle and them laughing as he's slamming his bag in the trunk, not even putting a shirt on, and just peels out of the fairgrounds.
That's so funny.
Oh.
Nick Bockwinkel, man. That's another guy who's so
Amazing.
underappreciated. To be honest, I didn't know who the hell he was until Jericho started, using all these big words in like 2009 or whatever it was, because he got that from Nick Bockwinkel. And watching Nick Bockwinkel stuff back, it's like, damn, this guy was way ahead of his time.
So good.
That shit would be over now.
Yeah.
And I love watching old wrestling. I'm subscribed to these YouTube channels, these obscure YouTube channels with like 1950s wrestling in Chicago. So
JR, were you at that?
What?
It's a JR. Were you at that show?
What? It's possible. No, probably not.
So when I was at Black and Brave, we had a lot of downtime. Like we would go wrestle, train, go home. We were all exhausted. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, exhausted. And we wouldn't really do too much. We would just hang out. And I would just watch Gorgeous George. I love Gorgeous George. I would just watch hours and hours and hours and hours of Gorgeous George. Because that's someone who, when I started wrestling after Black and Brave, I wanted to kind of emulate to an extent, but also be myself. But he was doing things that nobody did. Back then, he would come out with, well, he wouldn't come out, but he would have a valet or a butler or whatever come out with like this big, like, what's that? The model, Rick Mantell, was that his name?
Martel.
Martel.
Yeah.
You know how he came out with that thing with the
like aerosol spray,
the perfume or whatever it was?
Yeah.
The ugly spray.
Right. He got that from Gorgeous George. So Gorgeous George would come out and he would disinfect the ring because it was disgusting. But he would say, it's Chanel number 10 for my beautiful sensitive skin, but it was actually disinfectant because the rings were disgusting. And the rings still are disgusting. But he would come and I was just like, oh man, that is crazy. Imagine doing that now after COVID. Oh, you people disgust me. And you have the Lysol and spraying it all over the place.
Lysol that'd be hilarious.
So I was like, oh man, I want to do that. And I planned on doing that. I just never did. And then I kind of modeled like my first few matches that I had, doing some mannerisms that he would do or some move, like a gesture he would do in a move, and then I got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm acting and this isn't natural. Like, what would I really do? And that's the beauty of wrestling, because you can try these things out, and if you like it, great. But for me, it was like, this isn't me. I'm not comfortable doing this.
Yeah.
And the evolution of the character week by week. And I'm fortunate because I wrestle at a place called PWX, and they run every week. So I would have 3-4 matches a month just at that promotion.
Yeah.
And I was able to change little things here and there and get more comfortable and be more myself. Like what you saw me wearing at Madhouse, I was wearing like these tie-dye pants and like the vest. And when I first started, I would wear that, and I had these white gloves on my hand. Why? It was different,
They were
and
there.
then what pissed me off, they would always come off during the match. And it was annoying, And then I would kind of just use it as like a, like Kurt Angle pulling down the straps. I would like take off the glove and do whatever.
Nice.
But I kind of grew out of that, and just the evolution of the character. I used to wear fringe tops. I braided my hair before, because I was just trying to think of what was different. And then I would just get compared to Seth Rollins all the time. And it's because I'm dark and I have a beard and I have long hair. That's why. But, and I was talking to him about it, and he was like, we had very similar personalities. I didn't see it, it's just me being I'm not like Seth Rollins. What are you talking about?
Right.
But he saw it, and then I was like, okay, I got to change this, I got to change that, I got to do the other thing. And so as time passed, it helped me develop the character that I have now, which is more edgier, in your face, more of a brawler. And honestly, I can thank Rhino for that, because had we not had our match, I wouldn't have tried that. And it's literally just me. It's literally just me. And I can say what I want. I can do what I want. Oh, and if you get butt hurt, oh, sorry, it's my character. No, it's not. It's me.
Right.
I can hide behind that. It's my character. You know.
I get that.
Yeah, it's way more fun now.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it more. I like the way the character looks. I feel like I'm able to interact more with the crowd, and I feel like the crowd hates me even more now to see, what I've become.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just crazy to think, in WWE, it takes years for characters to transition. And that's obviously because, the writing team and all that has to approve, and there has to be a million yeses before the slightest thing can be changed. But at the level I'm doing it at, it's literally me. I decide to change it when I want to change it, which is great, So it was literally, I think, so the night before I was actually wrestling at Madhouse.
Okay.
And then the next day I wrestled Rhino, and it's completely different.
Yeah.
Completely different character. And ever since then, I've been doing that character.
Nice.
So you saw the last of that, like, flamboyant, tie-dye, biker vest, glasses that say, "Do you love me?" and all that.
Nice.
Yeah. So, and man, I love Madhouse. And Luke, I don't know if he's still watching, but this isn't to blow smoke up his ass.
Oh,
like I first, is that him now? Yeah, I appreciate that. I met him, I think it was like November, December at a Madhouse show before they took some time off.
Oh,
and
yeah. I remember you being there.
Clicked. Yeah. And we just clicked. We got along great. And, since then, I'm so grateful, because I was just talking to him today. I don't really talk to many people in wrestling because I'm very introverted, surprisingly.
What?
But he made a post today on he made a post today on Twitter talking about, the hateful LeBron James. And I just went on like this 140 character rants, like just maxed out the text rants.
Nice.
Defending LeBron James, because I love LeBron James.
Okay.
But I wouldn't really comment on people's posts, but he's someone I like, and he's someone I get along with, and he's a mark for my dad. So
there you go.
So I can't.
Dude, I'll tell you what, Madhouse.
Madhouse.
It's a special promotion, man. And they're special guys, Mike. And
they really are. I love it. Yeah, I love it. The production they have. The first show I went to was I think the show I did was in like a wedding hall or something.
Yeah.
But the first one I went to was a wedding hall also.
That was crazy. Where we had like the pyro and shit. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, boy, what the fuck? The Indies with pyro. I was like, yo, I got to get booked on this shit.
Yeah, that venue is crazy.
He was so receptive, and I don't even think he's really watched, because he booked me. I maybe had a handful of matches.
Oh, I guarantee you he watched them. Guarantee you.
Oh, no, I know he did. He did, but they weren't, I don't think they were good, for him to go, oh, yeah, shit, let's book it. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And Malice is great too, man. I think that was his last match on that show, because I heard he shaved his head, something he's always wanted to do. I want to see that.
We saw it.
He's so nice too.
Everyone
there. Everyone there, and you too. Like you work there. Everyone there is great. They're so nice. They're so welcoming. They're so open. And you know how wrestling can be. There's a bunch of fucking assholes. There's places I've been, where there's hazing, and there's fucking just people are so rude and disrespectful. And it's like, brother, we're all doing the same thing. Like, why are you talking to this kid that way? Yes, he's a rookie. Yes, it's his third match. He doesn't know any better. Like, why are you talking down to him like that? Help him. Because you know why? No, here's the thing. That kid may get signed, and the people you see going up are the same people you see coming down.
Yeah.
And that's why you always got to be nice to people. You never know who's going to get signed.
Oh, yeah.
You never know who can have a helping hand in your career. If you're just going to be a dick to everybody, don't expect people to help you, you know? And I don't get like the mentality behind that. You know, yes, it is a competition and we're all trying to make it. But if you make it and you help me, that's great. If I make it, I can help you, that's great. But if everyone's just at odds with each other, it just destroys the business, you know? And there's people, you know, I can count on one hand the amount of people, you know, I even associate with in wrestling. And I just try to keep to myself. I respect everybody. Don't get me wrong, unless you give me a reason not to. But I'm not friendly with a lot of people. And that's just how I am.
Yeah.
It's not because I don't like you or anything like that. I just don't like talking to people.
Yeah.
Ironically.
Yeah. Dude, I hear you. I hear you.
And it's nice, you know, when you meet people like Rhino, who's been so successful, and he's like, hey, you know, send me your match. I want to see this, you know. Or Brian Kendrick, who just, I go to this guy's house and we'll sit on his couch and he'll throw on, like, I remember one time I was like, hey, what do you want to watch? He's like, oh, let's watch this. He throws on some like 1940s Cirque du Soleil wrestling from France. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? So I'm watching it. And I was just like, wow, this is crazy. And I asked why. And he's like, because wrestling can literally be anything you want it to be.
Yeah.
And me understanding the psychology of it, I owe all to him because, and I'm so fortunate to be able to go to his house and sit on his couch for hours on end. Literally, he doesn't like watching his own matches, but I wanted to watch him versus Ibushi from 205. It was a Cruiserweight Classic.
Yep.
And because I can literally ask someone in that match why they did that, you know? And then we watched it and he explained why and his mindset and what's going through his mind in this moment. And to hear that really.
Oh no.
Internet!
What happened?
Internet!
What happens when you live in Iowa?
How dare you fail us after 52 minutes?
No kidding, man. Like, he was rolling, dude.
There we go. There we go.
I think so. Yeah, there we go. All right.
Yeah.
He's back.
All right.
Somebody tried to call you or what?
Oh, wait. Yeah, was it? Did you get a phone call? I forget that. That happens.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know. It always happens when I'm doing one of these calls. It just drops. But going back to what I was saying, to hear him explain why he does certain things and start being like, holy shit, this is exactly why. And it just clicks.
Yeah.
It just clicks. Sometimes you can hear something a million times, but one person says it slightly different. And then it's just like, oh God, there it is.
Yeah.
You know, then it's like, oh, I get it. You know? And then like I model what I do. I go into a match because I really focus on psychology. The type of wrestling I do isn't, I can't do fucking flips. I can't do fucking dives. I can, but the type of wrestling I do is more storytelling and psychology and why are you attacking this body part? Things like that. You know? Am I frozen?
No, you're back. You're back. You're back.
Click out for just a second.
Okay.
Wes would love you, man. My homie Wes. Briscoe.
Yeah, it's a little wonky.
That's all him right there.
But
it's a story.
I really owe a lot to him, and I'm so grateful for him. And he's someone.
Oh shit!
Internet!
Man, I tell you, you know, like right as we're coming up on that hour mark,
this internet sucks.
Blame it on Iowa. Mostly because JR's here, and if I don't blame it on Iowa,
I don't care. I don't care about Iowa.
Bring him back,
I
JR.
love Iowa.
Bring him back, JR.
This is crazy. This is crazy. I just had to connect to my Wi-Fi. I just use my data, but I'm connected to the Wi-Fi now, so hopefully it stays. But anyway, I really hope he gets back into WWE because I know he actually produced the Bad Bunny match with Damian Priest. He trained Bad Bunny, which is fucking wild. Bad Bunny is good.
So good.
You know, I like Bad Bunny. And he's actually better than a lot of people who are signed, to be honest, whether people want to hear that or not.
100%.
You know? And you know why? Because he's passionate about it. He's one of the biggest celebrities in the world. Why the fuck is he getting F5 by Brock Lesnar? Because he loves it. You know? He does not have to do that. He can just go in and do his fucking Booker T song and bounce and make his money.
This guy could just hang out with Kendall Jenner all night and not even go. Like, he doesn't even
go
whatever he wants.
But he's getting F5 by Brock Lesnar. He's stealing the show with Damian Priest. You know, and I'm a huge Damian Priest mark now. Like, I love Damian Priest ever since he cut that promo in Spanish. I had no idea what he said, but I was like, damn, that's passion, that's intensity. Because he really feels it, you know? Yeah, and that's what separates the top guys from, you know, I don't want to say curtain jerkers, or mid-card and low-card. It's like all the top guys in the business have done the indies.
This is true.
And they've done the 5-hour drives for $20. Yeah. They've done hot dogs and handshakes. They've done it for years on end. And then you can hear the passion come out of them when they're actually talking about it. You know, versus someone who played fucking soccer for 10 years, couldn't make it in Barcelona, and now all of a sudden they're in NXT. You know, stuff like that. It's really frustrating as an indie wrestler, because the top guys in the business, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, you know, even Austin Theory all did indies. The only exception was Roman Reigns, but Roman Reigns was born into wrestling.
Yeah.
So he was around it his entire life. You know,
very true.
And it's just irritating. You know, there's so many people on the indies that are good that just don't have an opportunity because someone would rather sign someone who has 200,000 followers on TikTok, you know, but those people don't even make it on TV, on NXT. You know, the girls do. I wonder why. You know, they're beautiful. I get it, but they all look the same, and they all do the same thing. They're either gothic, they're either witches, they're either a skater girl, the tomboys, or something like that, or just blonde, straight up blonde. You know, and there's nothing that separates them. But if you look at the girls at the top, Bayley, Becky Lynch, again, Charlotte was born into it. She didn't do it on the indies, but Bayley did. Becky Lynch did. Who else is up there? Like Dakota Kai, she did. You know, most of the women, like fucking Nikki Cross, and I don't even know if that's still a name, and Doudrop.
Yeah, she's back to Nikki Cross. Yeah, Doudrop.
You know, like they all did the indies.
Oh yeah.
So, and there's a reason why they are where they are.
Yeah.
But you know, it's just a cycle. You know, they'll want indie wrestlers. Once that changes, they want athletes. Once that changes, they want indie wrestlers, and it just goes in a circle and circle. And you just kind of have to get lucky and get there when they're looking for indie wrestlers. But you know, with that being said, I used to think, like, my goal is WWE. I would love to be there, but there are other places now. You know, obviously AEW, even Impact, Japan. There's companies in Europe. There's other companies like NWA. I would love to do NWA. You know, I watch old NWA, and I know the new NWA is not exactly like, but they still have the studio audience, the same kind of vibe, the same feeling, and all that. That's really cool. I would love to do that sometime, just to be like, oh shit, look, NWA. Yeah. You know, and I feel like the indies are kind of getting revitalized now, and they're kind of going to that territory era again.
Yeah, I feel we are in a heyday of indies right now.
Right. So you have the Midwest, you have the Northeast. So it's kind of like, you know, Vern Gagne, and then WWF, I think WWF.
Yep.
Yes.
And then Mid-South, AWA, NWA. And, you know, the different parts of the country has equivalent to that.
Yeah.
And then, like, you have promotions out west. The West is getting big. You know, you have Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, Booker T's Reality of Wrestling, which I'm trying to get on. Yeah. I would love to do that. And then you have Championship Wrestling in Memphis, who works with Championship Wrestling in Hollywood, works with Championship Wrestling in Arizona. They're trying to make this big conglomerate. of championship wrestling, like a whole network. And then you have WPW in LA, which is Brian Kendrick's promotion, which I love. I'm not really a fan of comedy wrestling, but that comedy wrestling is so fucking outlandish.
Nice.
It's not like comedy wrestling where, oh, let's lock up. Hey, look up, huh? And then I step on your foot. Not that shit. Like the kind of wrestling they have there is they have this character called Ricotta Flair, who comes. He does a whole Ric Flair gimmick, but he has like a block of ricotta cheese on his head.
So he's from Wisconsin or what?
I don't know, probably. Hopefully that would make sense. And then they have like George Washington Carver's monster, which is like this big giant peanut with like a giant fist. Like, this is incredible, you know. And David Arquette's wrestled there. Freddie Prinze Jr. goes to the shows, you know. And I know he's starting up a promotion either this year or next year or something. I want to do that. You know, there's just so many options out there for you now. And they're all conduits to WWE. You know, not everyone's just going to go straight into WWE with a tryout. Sometimes you may have to do something else for them to see you, just like AJ Styles did, Samoa Joe, Kevin Owens. You know, you have to go somewhere else in order to come. Like Drew McIntyre. He was in WWE. They were like, get the fuck out of here. He left and became a bigger star, came back to WWE, became their champion.
Well, Cody as well.
Exactly. So sometimes you need to leave or just do something else for them to see what you can do without the handcuffs of whatever they do, in order to show your value. And that's the exciting thing about the indies. Yes, the shows aren't gigantic. It's not in front of 120,000 people in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, or anything like that. There may be like 30 people. There's 30 people in Streator, Illinois, you know. But if you can go out there and get those 30 people to hate you, you can get 150,000 people to hate you. So working these small crowds, it's so much harder, but the payoff is so great because when you do work the bigger crowds, you're able to. Yeah. And that's something, you know, I knock on wood, I haven't done a show with like 3 people in the crowd yet. I hope I never do, you know, but I've heard terror tales of that, you know. Yeah. And like Kevin Owens have done it.
No.
You know, funny story. So one day, this had to be in June or July of last year. I'm at the Black and Brave gym, and then the SmackDown's on TV and Sami Zayn's on TV talking with Nakamura or something, right? And then so one of the students is like, hey, Sami Zayn is here. And we're like looking at the TV. Oh, yeah, ha, so funny. Yeah, he's right there, right? No, this guy literally walks into the fucking gym, right? So Sami Zayn walks into the gym, does his workout, and before he leaves, he's like, hey, do you guys want to talk for a little bit? Do you have any questions or anything like that? And I'm not even – so he was on his way to Cedar Rapids for a house show. He was talking to us for like an hour and a half. I kid you not. Just the nicest guy, answering any question you had, no matter how ridiculous it was, how like embarrassing it could be to ask. And, you know, for him to take the time, this was like right when he started with the Bloodlines, like literally like right at the beginning of that. And for him to come by and just talk to us and just be so cool. And he could have easily come in, worked out, and left, you know. But for him to talk to us for so long. And then before he left, he's like, hey, kind of like what Edge was doing with you before. He was like, you guys good? Do you have any more questions? Are you sure?
No.
And we're like, I mean, I could ask you like 400 more questions. But I know you have a show to go to. And then he left. And that's something, you know, someone who's at the top of the business or actually on his way up, stopping by us nobodies and giving us like incredible advice. You know, he was talking about how he would just do these random ass shows in church basements in Montreal in front of like 6 people. Yeah. You know, and then 7 months later, he's wrestling Roman Reigns in Montreal for the WWE Championship in the greatest story ever told by WWE. You know, it's just crazy to think, you know, how the people who are so successful for the most part in the business are usually some of the nicest ones. But then you have people who haven't done what these other guys have done, and they're full of themselves. They're assholes, you know, not humble. And that's something, you know, I don't like, you know, because it's like, no offense, dude. Like you had an Intercontinental Championship match once and you didn't even win. Why are you acting like this? You know, and it was like a fatal 6-way. Like, brother, calm the fuck down. You know? And then you have people, WWE champion, the Intercontinental champion, like just being the nicest people, you know, because they're not intimidated. They're not like, they're secure in who they are. But then there are people who aren't, you know, just as high as, you know, the champions are.
Oh yeah,
but that's everyone's prerogative, and that's their own issues to deal with. But
well, I'll tell you what, you're on your way, bro. There's a lot of
I
big
hope
things
so.
for you in your future.
I fucking hope so that this is all for something, you know.
It definitely
I'm working hard. I like, not to pat my own back, but I mean, I'm really working as hard as I can now, because like I said, I couldn't wrestle for like 7 years.
Yeah, man.
And that wasn't my choice. And now I'm kind of playing catch up, and I have to do everything I possibly can, you know, because I just turned 33. So it's kind of like my window isn't gigantic.
Right.
It's still open, but I kind of have to like do it now, you know. Yeah. I don't have 10 fucking years to figure it out. You know, right. I need to figure it out today. And that's why I'm always up Seth Rollins' ass and Brian Kendrick's ass, like just asking a million questions. Because when we were in Black and Brick, like Seth calls me the question man, because like I ask a million questions.
That's awesome.
Not really. I was embarrassed. You know, I was like, fuck. I hope he doesn't think I'm just asking because I'm a mark or trying to be a mark. Like, these are genuine questions I want to know. You know,
right?
Because you're where I want to be. I want to know how to fucking get there.
Right.
You know, but he does tell me. You know, but it just comes down to doing it and being able to get the opportunity to do it in WWE. Like he's told me, you know, what works, what doesn't, when to do things, how to do things. And I implement that now when I wrestle. And he's not wrong.
Yeah. Right. Nice.
No. I don't talk to her too much. Because I don't want to bother her, you know. But the few times I did talk to her, she was the nicest fucking person. Like she's like, she really, like, she'll talk to you and like look at you like this and like really be engaged in the conversation and give her insight and be really nice and just like, whatever questions you have. If it's a Mark question, she doesn't make you feel stupid for asking. You know, like she's very genuine, and I would love to talk to her more. Because that's another brain to pick. Yeah. She's arguably the best female wrestler of all time. Her or Charlotte, pick one. You know, and to figure out how she thinks of things, which I've gotten to do a couple of times, but not too much. No. She's really sweet, and I'm grateful that she's in the area where if I did want to talk to her, I could. But I don't, because I don't want to bother her. Yeah. You know, with Colby, I'll just go up to him. With Seth, I'll just go up to him and be like, "Hey, brother," you know. Right. But with her, you know, I want to respect her space, because I went to Seth's school, not Becky's school.
Right.
You know, so
right.
Like she'll answer it, you know, but I try not to bother her.
Nice. We're gonna skip the Q&A. Man, this was such a good conversation that we're like well over an hour right now. We're like at an hour 10. So let's do the Tom game with Nasty Nic Nolan here.
That's a very expensive intro. We always have to do it, Nick.
It's the best graphic money can buy.
Real quick before we get into this, just because I had to see it for myself, I did pull up a picture of Ricotta Flair.
Yeah, you see? Look at that, Terry Gordy. You saw the other guy's name, Terry Gordy, and it's a fucking gourd.
Oh my god!
That is
Turkey Mania.
Look
Jesus.
at this.
And that's all Brian Kendrick's, man. Like, he's the mastermind behind. I love it. I love it. I did a show for him once, and fucking randomly Xavier Woods pops up, and then he's just sitting and it's his birthday, right? So he's just in the crowd, and he was having the time of his life, man. Like, to see this stuff, it's so fun. I think they have some stuff on YouTube.
Oh, we're gonna have to check.
But if you're ever in LA and you can make it to one of those shows, I highly recommend it because it is so fun.
Oh.
You know, and it's not stupid Yes, it's silly. You know, it's Harry Gordy, a giant gourd, ricotta flair. You know, and he does like the 4 horsemen thing, and it's fucking hilarious. But it's so fun to watch. And if anyone watching is in LA, go check that out.
There it is. All right, Tom. Tom game.
Yeah. So real simple here, Nick. Obviously, most everybody's played the F, Marry, Kill game. You know, in this situation, out of the 3 hosts here with JR, myself, and Ace, you're going to pick 1 to be your tag team partner, 1 to be your opponent, and 1 to be your manager.
All right, real quick. So I'm going to choose JR as the opponent. Yeah. I'll choose
That's fair.
Top Shelf manager. Down. Yeah, and Ace tag partner.
Mm-hmm. Let's go. It's the guns.
It's the guns, man.
Oh my God! Is that what I gotta do? I gotta wear a tank top next week to show off the guns here.
I don't do this often. Okay,
that's
well,
fair.
I appreciate you doing it for me.
I like it. That's a solid answer. That is a solid. We keep stats too, so like,
really?
Tom, we'll keep track of this. We keep track of who says what. Who are some of the people in Nick's company here?
Let's see. The last person to pick that lineup of aces is tag team opponent. JR is tag team partner. JR is the opponent, and myself as a manager was Badger Calhoun, my commentary partner over at Absolute Pro Wrestling. So very wise choice on that part. And then let's see other names. Briar Hale picked the same one.
I think she's in this area. She's done Madhouse, right?
Yep.
Her and her sister.
I think they'll be on the next one on the 24th.
And
sweet.
She's also just they announced her for an MAW show coming up.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
And then one of the all-time legends of Minneapolis wrestling, Darren Corbin, picked the same lineup you did as well. So you're an elite company right there, that's for sure.
You know, it's funny. Darren Corbin is like a mythical creature to me. I've heard the name. I've heard people talk about him. I have no idea what this guy looks like.
Well, I'll tell you what. He picked Team Ginger.
Yeah.
So
that's true. Yeah, he's very much the red hair don't care type, obviously, and kind of take a version of me with Ace, mix it together, and add a characteristic that he likes to run, and then that's the wrestler right there. So
he's a good time. He's check him out. You'd like it. Great heel up here in Minnesota. So, all right, everybody. Nic Nolan, where can they find you? Let's get socials out. Any shows you got coming up, matches that you want to throw out there, do that now.
Yeah, so Instagram, Twitter. I don't have a gimmick Facebook. Instagram and Twitter is Nasty Nic Nolan. Shows coming up. I'm trying to look at my calendar from here. I know I have Iron Spirit Pro on Friday in Champaign, Illinois. I have HAW on Rock Island. That's this week. I don't know what I have after that. I know I have a couple of MAWs in August and some. I think PWX on June 10th I might do.
Nice. Fingers crossed.
This is all off the top of my head. I mean, I don't really know after those two.
Well, fingers crossed we get you back to Madhouse here soon. So.
Oh yeah. I think I may do August 12th.
Okay.
It's not finalized, but he told me to keep the date open. So.
Heck yeah. Yeah. All right, everybody. If you want to know more, you want to keep up to date with him, make sure you follow him online at Nasty Nic Nolan. Thank you, brother, for coming on, man.
Dude, thank you for having me. All you guys are fucking awesome. I love you guys.
Yeah.
One of the most fascinating guests we have on, and you can absolutely tell the passion that you have for professional wrestling. It just oozes out of you, and the stories are fantastic, and we would love to have you back.
Man, whenever you guys want, I'm more than happy to do it. I mean, I don't think anything's going to change as far as my story or anything like that.
Well, I'll tell you what, we never did our Q&A.
Yeah, we
That's
got
true.
questions for you, that's for sure. But also,
That's true.
apparently, breaking news, by the way, here we got Luke Raven and Malice both saying that if you're available on the August 12th show, that you're in. So I guess
Is
just
that
fine.
Saturday? I think that's Saturday. Yeah. Okay, sweet.
Yeah, so I guess we'll look forward to see you August 12th with Madhouse. Breaking news here on the 2 count, everybody. It was
Breaking
just
news.
booked
I'm
as of right
I'm
now.
Getting myself booked, man. Look at that.
And I'll tell you what, those guys don't usually put any talent out for the shows till like we get way closer. So like this is exclusive, guys.
I
August
appreciate
12th, Madhouse. We'll bring it back. Nasty Nic Nolan. I can't wait to see you down there, brother.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to be there. And I'm trying to the other show that you did that we were talking about. I'm trying to get on that too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, brother, if you got some pull, I think you left me on red. So if you got some pull,
we'll see what we can do. That's for sure.
Tell them. We'll be seeing those guys soon too. So
yeah, sweet.
All right, Nick. Thank you again. We'll see you soon, very, very soon, my friend.
Yeah, man. Thank you, guys.
Thanks so much.
Have a
Best
good
of
one,
luck
brother.
to you.
Luck is for losers.
Well,
that's JR's motto too.
There it is. Yeah, baby.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Have a good one,
take
brother.
care.
You too.
All right,
Oh, man, Nasty
That
Nic
was-
Nolan. That was fun.
You
That
know
was
it's
really
a good,
awesome.
Yeah, you know it's a good interview where like we don't get
We don't
half
say
our
a
stuff
damn
in, 'cause
thing.
Yeah, we didn't have to say much, and we get because usually we're like, okay, we got to really get them out at that hour mark, but I didn't want to stop, man. I wanted to let Nick keep going. I'm gonna grab me a drink, fellas, because I went through them that first hour, so I'll be right back.
Sure, absolutely. I'll say, seriously, and not try to blow smoke up his ass. Super fascinating, and don't you think, Tom? I mean, that the passion that he has is absolutely evident and clear.
Well, and you know, he mentioned it too. Obviously, we've started off as fans. I wanted to try and pull back and be like, listen, man, I was brought into this business. I didn't really love it. No, I mean, we all loved it growing up. That's why we still are doing whatever we're doing with it, whether it be this podcast or actually like Big Ace and myself getting out there and actually going and being part of shows. So fuck you, JR. Get your old ass down to Iowa, baby. Let's go. Come on.
I also still have a lot of questions that I am interested in asking him.
JR.
What?
June 24th, Thunderdome, Newton, Iowa.
Can't do it. Training.
Fuck you.
I can't.
June 24th? June
Yeah.
24th
In-store training. Yep.
on a Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Are they paying you overtime?
Nope. I'm just not working on Tuesday. That's how it
Tell
works.
them to fuck off then, man.
Yeah,
It's a Saturday.
Find me another job.
Hey, Twin Cities people, find JR a better job.
I can find you a better fucking job tomorrow, man. I'll start looking fucking today. No, I won't actually. I don't like you that much to actually help you out
See.
too much.
I know.
I mean, I love you, JR, but I don't like you at all.
June 10th, 17th, 24th, I am doing training, in-store training. I'm the trainer. June 30th and 31st, I'll be in Devil's Lake at a casino show. July 7th and 8th, I'm up at a casino in Grand Portage, Minnesota. And at some point before my 62nd birthday on August 30th, I think I'm probably going to just check out.
Of course, you are going to just check out.
Well, I'm going to check out because I'm going to continue to eat sugar and get that diabetes. Really, I'm going to pump that sugar, get that A1C up over 17.
Oh, pipe down, JR. We just need to find you a new job.
I honestly just need a nap. Okay, so there's a lot of news
Lay
That-
it on us.
that we haven't talked about. Some of you may know Willow Nightingale, holy cow, wins a title over in Japan. I haven't seen the footage, but apparently she may have fell on Mercedes Monet's ankle and broke it, which is, I guess, a good way to win a title.
Yeah.
I
so,
don't know.
yeah,
I mean,
that's
it's
not good.
unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I did hear that they had to, ad lib the ending because she was severely injured with a broken ankle.
It's nuts. There's three big female talents right now. Her, Dakota Kai, and Liv Morgan all out.
Yeah.
And Dakota Kai, I guess, got hurt while trying to protect who did I just say? Liv Morgan.
Liv?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She knew Liv was her. Like they happened in the same match, and they're both going to be out for a while now.
Apparently, Dakota's might be worse than Liv's. Liv's is going to require surgery for sure. Dakota, they're still waiting, but apparently hers might be worse.
Yeah, ACL.
In other news, apparently the CM Punk AEW
Dude, yeah, what
is gigantically fucked up now.
Oh my god, the fucking drama with that guy.
When did this happen? Because I have not been able to check. Okay, I have not been able to check a lot of news in the last 24 hours of wrestling.
Yeah,
this happened like last week.
Well,
really?
So now the word is that if he does not do what they want him to do, they are going to sue him.
Oh yeah, he's still under contract. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about something different.
No, which clearly though now means let's piss this guy off and give him a microphone.
Well, I mean, it's just you cater to this guy. You're building an entire show around him because half of the locker room doesn't want to be there with him.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing all this shit, and then the day before you're supposed to announce this shit at the upfronts, all hell just breaks loose, and then he's online just fucking Instagram post after Instagram post, just fucking letting loose, and it's like, all right, guys, like, Tony Khan, you got to do something, bro. You're the fucking boss. Like, what is happening?
So here's what I think probably happened. I think Punk is smart enough to know that Tony Khan is kind of a pushover and a fanboy. And I believe that Punk probably never wanted to come back and just let Tony keep appeasing him. And at this point now he doesn't want to do it. So he's probably trying to create all of this drama and friction to see if he can't get fired.
Well, the talk was that this is all over Ace Steel because apparently he's not allowed backstage.
Well, Ace Steel got fired because of the shit at All Out. So, and that doesn't surprise me because Ace Steel was just a producer. Ace Steel was not really even supposed to be fucking in front of the camera until he had to fucking be there to tell Punk that he needed to toughen up and shit like that. So, like,
that was part of the deal is that Punk would come back and do Collision or whatever it's called, but like part of that is that Ace Steel had to come too. But then, so that's what this whole thing, like, why? Because I guess apparently he was supposed to be like the main focal of that picture for the upfronts with TNT, and then they didn't. Who was it? Was it MJF that's on it or something? But apparently it had to do with the Ace Steel situation but then they were saying later that no, they actually hired him back months ago, Ace Steel. But again, I think it had something to do with like he's not allowed to be backstage though or something. I don't know.
Well, I mean, because I don't know what Ace Steel's job is. I know that he's been fairly successful with some t-shirt designs in the past as far as when he was doing his own Steel Domain wrestling, not the one currently in Minnesota here and all, but I don't know. I don't really care about Ace Steel. I do know that they had basically tailor made for CM Punk to come back at Double or Nothing because you have FTR who are vocal about willing to work with CM Punk, wanting CM Punk back. He was a friend of theirs when he was around, gave him some good advice. I mean, it's basically built in for Double or Nothing because you're going to have their matchup for the tag team titles against Jarrett and Jay Lethal, with then Sanjay Dutt and Satnam Singh ringside. So clearly, if you're going to have some kind of interference angle, that's when CM Punk can come back, help those guys out, and actually then set up this whole FTR CM Punk versus the JS or whoever shit that they wanted to line up for the first Collision. So apparently that's going to be in jeopardy. But again, that was tailor-made to fucking give him an in back in with AEW to look like a face right off the bat too. So
not getting his way. Now he's an angry Punk. Old Phil over there.
You kind of glitched a little bit there, but yeah, we all heard Philly Punk there. Philly Punk Brooks.
Should we dive into Double or Nothing?
Well, I mean, that's coming up this weekend. It wouldn't be a bad idea to maybe do a little bit of a preview.
It is.
I mean,
all right,
we should probably maybe at this point give, obviously Nick gave us a little bit of shout out to superstar Billy Graham. Finally passed us last week. So that's obviously another big bit of wrestling news right there.
I like how you're like, finally.
Well, because he's been on life support for a while, and his wife finally agreed to, take him off of life support, and finally passed this last week. We talked briefly just about it last week too, but again, finally passing. Not good riddance, obviously, but yeah, hell of a. You're making me sound real bad here. I'm not.
Fucking hey, finally, dude. Billy Graham's gone. Jesus.
I mean,
what the fuck?
He finally followed the evangelist into the path of heaven, and has gone to the immortal world. I don't know what the fuck else to say, but no, superstar Billy Graham, though, a legend in his own right. Definitely a trailblazer.
Without him, there is no Hulk Hogan.
True.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys, especially in the 80s and 90s. Yep. There's no Ultimate Warrior. There's no. I mean, even guys, Jesse the Body, obviously.
Yep.
God, who? Yes.
Yeah, without him, there's no me.
By the way, this motherfucker goes to the floor of the state fucking Senate or whatever and says that he will be there the day they finally pass marijuana and shit like that into law. This fucking old junkie and shit.
Do you hear the story though? I actually watched it. And he got super emotional about his wife and these seizures.
Mm-hmm.
I did not see it. I just, again, read about it because they didn't cover that part of it in the news article that I read.
You're a citizen. You're allowed to watch the goings on at the Senate.
No, I did. I actually did see him speak. It was funny because he ended it with, "Oh yeah, the worst thing." I should just write it down so you say it because it'd be better. He's like, the worst thing that's ever happened, or he's like, oh, when I was drunk, I've blacked out, I've done this and that. He's like, the worst thing that's ever happened to me on weed is I went to a Jimi Hendrix concert.
He says that shit all the time. It's one of the most fucking annoying, stupid bit lines of all fucking time.
Well, you better be at the fucking Capitol next week.
I guess so. But yeah, so Double or Nothing, guys. You want to talk about it briefly?
Jeez, sure. Tom seems butthurt that cannabis is legal now.
No, I don't. No, honestly, it's never been one that's affected me in any way, shape, or form. Honestly, it has zero.
Couldn't tell.
So, and I think for most people, first of all, it's not like I've studied it, but my understanding is it's going to be at least a year for most places that don't do medical to even open a dispensary at this point.
Yeah, they can't open until January here.
And I believe the tax above and beyond sales tax is 10%.
Correct.
So I think in many cases, certain people may still just wait to go to Michigan or Illinois, well, probably Michigan, because Illinois' tax is very high as well. I'm just saying.
Realistically, if people are still willing to pay for cigarettes, I mean, it's not the same, obviously. I'm not trying to say it's the same. Let's fucking put that away. I'm not saying cigarettes and marijuana are the same. Okay, everybody just stop being weird, thinking I'm a narc or something like that. What I'm saying is...
You a cop, bro?
I'm not a cop. I mean, no.
Here's a little recipe. You get the gummies. You get some nice fruitful gummies. Chop them up very small and then mix them in with your ice cream. It's wonderful.
No, you mean your snow? I'm going to start calling you Farva.
Me? Get off your fucking high horse there, Ace and shit. Fuck, I tell you.
You got liter cola?
All I wanted was a goddamn liter of cola, all right?
All right, Double or Nothing. Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy, Isaiah Cassidy taking on Ethan Page and the Guns. If Party wins and Matt controls Page's contract.
Well, I think clearly that's going to happen. I think it's unfortunate because my real feeling about the Hardys is I'm happy that Jeff is back. and I really would like to see Broken Matt and the whole thing. I thought that's kind of what they were trying to do a little bit to bring him back. But I mean, I don't know if they're going to do it fully. And at that point, I don't know. I mean, they're the the cinematic matches at AEW seems to be Matt's forte. But I don't know. I mean, I love Ethan Page. I just think he gets underused, and we all know it. And it's one of those things where he's like when we went to the Bauhaus show for First, Danhausen was there, and Ethan Page was with him, obviously, because they're friends. And everybody rushed to Danhausen, and poor fucking Ethan Page is there, who absolutely was every bit as good as Danhausen at that show, and probably one of the funniest and best things I ever saw going after.
Yeah, probably
going after. Help me because I can't think of the fucking promoter's name. Eric Cannon's mom. That was one of the funniest things I think I ever saw. And Ethan Page deserves a lot more and is a lot more talented than he's being used. But at any rate, I hope that something comes of it for Ethan Page,
right,
more than I do for the Hardys.
Well, you're not wrong, and obviously, I think Ace knows for sure, and JR, I think you've been there before too. I love Ethan Page too. I think there's a lot of good things that can be done with not only that character, but him as a wrestler. He's very good in ring. He's charismatic. He can play a face too, but he's so much better as a heel. And realistically, we got a small glimpse of what he could do when it was Men of the Year. But realistically, if this guy's not winning the international championship anytime soon or something even bigger, I don't know. It's kind of a miss for me so far with AEW. I thought he was going to be something bigger. He wanted out Impact because they're only using him up to a certain level with too much of that Karate Man stuff. Mm-hmm. So I genuinely believe, unless he wants to just be done with wrestling, I think his best bet is maybe doing some indies again and going back maybe towards Impact or something like that. So. But they don't win this match, unfortunately. The firm does not win this match.
Yeah. Moving on, Chris Jericho taking on Adam Cole in an unsanctioned match.
Yeah. This build has been weird because it's been mostly towards Roderick Strong coming to AEW and then the Outcast joining temporarily with JS to take out Britt Baker, I guess. So I don't know. This is a kind of a worthless match outside of, I think this is the first time ever kind of thing. So, but I mean, obviously at this point, if Adam Cole doesn't get the win, that makes again 0 sense going forward.
Well, and I think we've talked about this too. I think Jericho's at the point where it doesn't hurt him to lose, and he's going to start helping elevate some of these folks. No matter who they are, because he can do it and he can get away with it. And he's a very important part of that company still. Who knows whether he's actually going to end up working with Punk or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's see. Anarchy in the Arena. We got the Elite taking on what is it?
Blackpool Combat Club.
Yeah, those guys. Taking those guys on. So it's just basically like anything goes, and falls count anywhere, right?
Yeah, it's their standard let's run around and do stupid shit and run over each other with golf carts and whatnot.
Well, hold on. That was Stadium Stampede that happened.
Whatever.
But I mean, it's the same premise, though, right? Like,
yes,
it's basically falls count anywhere, no holds barred.
To be honest
with this match and this lineup, though,
The only thing that's
I don't need like a bunch of gimmicks or weapons because all these guys can put on just a really good match.
right, but it's going to be better with gimmicks and weapons, right?
It'll be all right. It'll
here's
be
the
all
thing.
right.
Now, here's the thing. I don't know about you, Tom, but I know Ace, you've pretty much stopped watching Being the Elite. It's starting to get a little bit funny again. They've had some backstory with Hangman and the Dark Order. I'm not 100% sure whether or not the Elite are going to win or not, because there still seems to be a little bit of friction between Hangman and Matt and Kenny about the nod when Kenny won the championship. Having said that, who knows? I mean,
the other question though is how does Don Callis play into this?
Exactly. And then of course the betting line, the main and most popular bet is going to be over under on how long it takes Moxley to bleed.
Oh, I bet he's like bleeding when he comes out.
Yeah. Cut himself shaving this morning. Still got to wrestle.
Well, I mean,
Goldberg.
Well, what you were going to see in this match is, I think, probably 7 of the biggest names in wrestling today, with Danielson, Mox, Claudio, the Bucks, Omega, and Hangman Page. I mean, some people would argue maybe like the 6 of the biggest names, but I mean, Page has been a world champion, and honestly, has still been part of a lot of big programs with Bullet Club and New Japan, and coming to
Page is a talent. His title reign just wasn't handled well.
It wasn't, because the build was so much better to get to that title.
Well, and they killed everything after. Like, he should have still been a part of Dark Order or all that. Like, they just killed everything that was great about it. What's this?
Well, yeah, part of that whole Dark Order thing is also the fact that it's a stupid thing by Goro. We don't need to highlight it. It's dumb.
We love
it's
to highlight Goro's stupid stuff.
It's dumb.
Because it's
the dumbest fucking thing I've read.
And love.
Anyhow,
I will say this:
it's
Wheeler Yuta takes the pin.
You think?
Oh yeah,
for sure. He is the low man on this fucking total bowl.
Yeah,
but this could also be what makes him.
No, because he's already been that pure champion over in ROH, and which he was a fine champion for that. I think also ROH, they don't know what they want to do with that championship now, because I think it is still Garcia, Daniel Garcia, which honestly, those two going back and forth, I wouldn't actually mind that title switching hands all that often, but Wheeler Yuta is still building his name, and if you have 7 of the top names in wrestling today in that one match, and you'll see a lot of just spots and some of the fun things that they probably did against the Inner Circle. I mean, I think this is also a callback to that one we saw at Full Gear, which was Anarchy in the Arena match between Men of the Year and Dan Lambert's team, and then against the Inner Circle.
Oh yeah, we saw that, didn't we?
Yeah, so you'll probably end up seeing some weird ladder spot or something.
As long as the Hardys don't come out and get involved in the ladder spots. AEW International Champion Orange Cassidy defending a Blackjack Battle Royale. I assume there'll be some sort of surprise in this thing.
I hope so. Here's the thing:
is it a return or a new signing?
I liked watching. We talked about this, I think, last week. I like watching Miro. I like seeing Miro. Where the fuck is he again? I mean, just a little glimpse. I miss Miro. God damn it. But here's the other thing too. Like, I don't know about you guys, and I don't know how much you're watching. I am fucking tired of Orange Cassidy now. It's the novelty has worn off for me. And I can't look at him as like, I can't look at him as legitimate now. Like, I would rather see Trent in that position with that belt.
Well, and I was going to say, I think that's part of the thing is like, I don't know, like, he was part of Best Friends. It was good. They kind of started adding people. It was still kind of working. But then they just started matching him up with just like random people. You kind of threw Danhausen in there for a little bit. And then it was just, it took away from him and being part of Best Friends with Chuck and Trent. And then now it's, they eventually kind of watered it down. Like, there was no need to bounce him around people. Him and Best Friends work.
Right.
Keep going with what works. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I think there'll probably be some sort of surprise in this battle royal. I don't think he retains.
Well, and I think that's what I think maybe JR was trying to get at too, was just the fact that, you know, I don't think it's a novelty that's worn off. I think it has its limits, and they haven't been protecting that limit because you're not involving them in matches for that title like you were supposed to. They've been doing these weird tag matches where he is against with Darby Allin or whoever, and
champion doesn't defend.
Yeah, and he wants to defend, and so then these tag matches, it's a lot of overexposure at that point because we want to see him defend, and we only have 3 named participants so far. It's everybody who's with QTV, Aaron Solo, Powerhouse Hobbs, and QT Marshall. Plus, then there's going to be 17 other competitors, so 21 total, rounding this out for the Blackjack Battle Royal for the International Championship, which I think downgrades this title, not as low as the TNT title, which might get an upgrade because of this fucking match.
Hey, man, I mean, I'll say it. Title should never be up for grabs in a battle royal. Like, that's just
unless somebody dies,
and
has to give it up, or is injured.
No. When they forced Roman Reigns to defend it at the Royal Rumble, that's a good way. Or when they had a vacated champion and Ric Flair won it back in '92. Those are the 2 times.
When you do it for the right reason, story wise, it works. But that's the problem. Is there's that, and that's the other thing with Orange Cassidy. They've never built, like you said, they just keep putting him in tag matches. They didn't build any story around him and this championship. And that's why it's not as entertaining right now.
But here's the thing too. I really feel like, even though I still enjoy watching AEW, I feel that story-wise, they still pretty much run the whole thing as a string of indie shows.
Yeah.
And so with Orange, it's just like there's nothing to it. There's no story.
Yeah, you got to adapt. You got to learn to tell the story on TV, and it's something that probably going to take a few years for them to get used to. But hopefully we do see that change. You brought up, you said TNT TBS Championship. Jade Cargill going to take on Taya. The fact that Taya is getting another match, for the fucking love of God, better mean she's winning this time.
Because I don't think they're...
Go ahead, Tom.
I was just going to say, I think she has to win it this time because they're not binding her to not use the same finishing move this time, which was the stipulation last go around. So I think that's why you see her win. JR.
Thanks, buddy. And I agree. I agree with you both that Taya should win. The only thing that makes me nervous is that if you happen to watch last week, her coming down with the I'm gonna wrestle again, and and all this business, right? And my fear is that her streak number is not high enough yet. And that bothers the shit out of me because she should have lost this a long time ago. We all agree on that.
I'll tell you what, she's one of the driving reasons why I have lost so much interest in AEW.
Yeah.
Because it's hard for me to have you put a title on her for this fucking long and she's still greener than shit in the ring.
Well, not only that, you know what? She has zero personality.
Yeah.
She has zero contempt as a heel.
Best thing about her was Smart Mark.
Yeah, she's just
He
annoying.
was the most entertaining thing about Jade Cargill.
Absolutely.
Is Smart Mark Sterling.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah. Well, and the reason I mentioned the TNT title, which was to lead into this match, because I think this is going to be one where it finally should kill Wardlow too. Because if we say the same thing about, I think Wardlow that we say about Jade, I like the presentation. He is obviously a very well built human being. He's worked hard on that physique and stuff, but putting him in a ladder match against one of the all time great ladder match competitors in Christian Cage, I don't think this ends well for Wardlow. And I think you put it on Christian Cage, you can get some of that original shine back on this title. You don't need to have Miro like have it, or even Cody, or even like this is bringing it back to that Cody Brody Lee, like original title holders prestige if you put it on Christian Cage. Because again, former, I mean, yes, he was an ECW champion, but he had the one time with the World Heavyweight Championship. Obviously, former NWA World Heavyweight Champion as well. So, and Intercontinental Champion, plus all the great tag team matches he had with Edge. Again, there's a name behind this.
He was a TNA champ.
Yeah, TNA as well. Yeah, I mean, I think that was when it was the NWA TNA, but it doesn't either way.
No, it was TNA Impact.
And again, but again, guys, they've done. I enjoyed the story with Wardlow and MJF. That story,
but there was nowhere for Wardlow to go after.
Well, but the thing is, it absolutely screwed Wardlow the way that MJF lost, and then with the whole, they've taken the dead horse and beaten it again with the Power Slam Concerto business, because that's bullshit, and people I seem to like it, but to me it's the dumbest fucking thing. I mean, who was it that was wrestling last week? I think it was Jay White against Ricky Starks. I might be wrong, but he had him in a pin and then pulled him back up. That's what you're supposed to goddamn do. You're not supposed to just keep pounding the shit out of him. You're supposed to show that heel and say, ooh, but I don't know, whatever reason, people seem to like that shit with Wardlow, but he's again, it's tired. It's used. They continue to do it. We used to complain about this with WWE doing the same matches with the same people over and over and over. Well, okay, so now Wardlow gets a new jobber to fucking do this shit too. And I don't know. I'm tired. I'm done with him.
Well, Christian's just such a good fucking heel.
Oh, hell yes.
Such a good heel. Like, you gotta put the title on him. But, the fear could be that, well, just Wardlow gets the rub from Christian. It's going to make him... Some of these matches, it's going to be very telling on where Tony Khan's mind's at with the booking.
Yep.
True. And I just really feel, and I understand, like, Wardlow just needs a little bit of time. There's no other way of saying it. He just needs a little bit more time and something different. He's not a good face. ROH. And he's also not, ROH, something where he can develop a little bit more. He's not, again, he's a fine, stoic heel valet or whatever he was with MJF. And when that story changed and he was being abused and stuff like that, we all wanted to see him beat MJF. But it was too much for very little, and MJF didn't sell it, which maybe it was when he had this whole fucking problem. Maybe it was what MJF, how he wanted to become a super heel, was to screw over Wardlow in that match. But the reality is, he's not a good champion. He doesn't need to hold this title because he's in my mind, he's not in that title picture. He's not in a title picture. But
let me ask you this, Ace, because you could probably give me this information. When Kevin Nash was Shawn Michaels' valet protector, how long did that go on? Do you recall? Was it more than a year?
I think it was like a year.
Okay. See, because to me, it's like when Kevin Nash took that step there was a reason for him to do that, to go out on his own. With Wardlow, there was, but then after that, it's nothing.
See, here's the deal. Here's what, because he turned on MJF by not giving him the ring or giving his opponent the ring. What was it?
Giving his opponent the ring.
Yeah.
Wrong move. If you want to put if you want to fire up that feud, it shouldn't have been that he gave the ring to MJF's opponent. He should have just fucking punched MJF himself with the ring and then walked out. That's how you keep the fucking steam on this guy. And now MJF has a real legitimate reason to be pissed at him, not just that he gave the ring to him. It's like, no, you also fucking knocked me out and you're supposed to be my servant. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's how you do it. Like, you don't, because that was just it. It was like, you get the reaction of like, holy shit, Wardlow and MJF now. The way they did it, it's okay, well, MJF's pissed. He's going to lose his belt because of that, but whatever. It's not like, again, it was like his focus is, everyone knows MJF's focus after that was going to be getting the belt back, not Wardlow. But you felt the need to still give us that like 3-week MJF Wardlow program. And it was, and then it, like you said, it killed Wardlow. Like, I don't give a shit about the guy now. Just don't. And Christian has to win this match.
Yeah, it was
smart.
Yeah. Again, if AEW wants to have better eyes, especially going on to another 2-hour show with Collision, which I don't know, a bunch of people have spotted off saying that Saturday nights don't work, and then Jim Cornette has actually said something good about AEW, saying, "The hell it isn't, man! I've been doing record numbers in Ohio Valley or Memphis or whoever for years, man, on Saturdays." So.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I mean, Fridays are hard enough for me to watch wrestling. We'll see what a Saturday's like, especially during show season for us.
Well, here is the thing though, because Saturdays are built for having kids' eyes on it, and that's why you do it. Yep. And even same with Fridays. If I had a show that was Friday or Saturday when I was a junior higher with very little possibilities of going anywhere other than a neighbor's house or whatever, I would have probably been right in front of the TV, sitting down watching it, and just all about it.
Yeah.
So anyhow, so we then got
then we got just reading the list I had. It's
sure,
and it's not anything, but AEW World Tag Team Champions, FTR taking on Jay Lethal, Jeff Jarrett with Mark Briscoe as special guest referee. Why the fuck is Jeff Jarrett taking a spot in a tag team title match on a pay-per-view?
Why the hell is Jeff Jarrett in the ring?
Well, this is what I'm saying.
He be the ref and Mark Briscoe tags with Jay? That's believable.
I mean, it is believable, but again, this was not, in my mind, this was supposed to be the reason you have CM Punk come back is to defend his friends from being outnumbered with like a down Mark Briscoe or whatever, because we already seen Mark Briscoe take a pile driver from Dax, and then have questions about it and stuff, and Jay Lethal and Sanjay playing up the whole "we're friends with you, man, we've always been friends," and trying to connive him into their group. So I mean, again, this was tailor made to have CM Punk come back for, and I don't think it's going to happen anymore. So that's why this doesn't make any sense, because it was supposed to be just a job to get CM Punk back, rev up for Collision, and that's why it doesn't make any sense, because you have great tag teams. I would love to see FTR versus Lucha Bros maybe in this one, but
CM lump, yep.
Oh, the voice is here, Joshua Joseph.
Yeah, I get that, but I'm going to always still pay my $10 a month for WWE and watch their premium live events. Like, I'm never going to choose a not over that. But it's also like if they were running just a show on USA on Saturday night, like tribute to the troops, but it was the same night as AEW pay-per-view, I'm going to watch the pay-per-view before I watch that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
that's the thing, Danny. I mean, it's a beautiful thing about being able to, with most of these streaming services, just record it and watch it later.
Yeah, I mean, I probably won't be able to watch Double or Nothing until probably next Tuesday morning when I wake up after getting back from Texas. So, but I'll still be here next Tuesday doing this show like I have since I started on this one. You got these other losers like JR and Ace can't fucking follow through every goddamn week. They've missed dates, but I'm here. I'm here carrying the show week in, week out.
1 week, Ace, we ought to, just between you and me, we should just let Tom do the show him fucking self.
No, we don't want to lose people, JR. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's true.
JR premium event. Let's make it happen, JR. Let's make it happen. Okay, let's finish, guys. AEW Women's Championship match. Jamie Hayter taking on Toni Storm. Yeah, you got to keep it on Hayter.
Please.
You just got to.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think this one goes over Storm because they are going to then set up Storm versus Thunder Rosa because Thunder Rosa never lost her title.
True.
And Toni Storm is technically the last interim champion, if you will. So that's, I think, the story that Tony Khan wants to play. I don't think it's a good call. I think that's the story he wants to play.
I am curious to see, though, because he knows how over she is. I wonder if he might make Toni Storm and Thunder Rosa just a grudge match and not actually have a title involved in that feud.
I would because
she can easily make the save for Hayter tomorrow night or on Saturday night or Sunday night because obviously you got Jamie, you got Toni Storm, so Ruby Soho and Paige Saraya are not going to be far behind. Well, she's only got Britt Baker, so you need that little third appearance to help and make things even, right, during this title match.
Mm-hmm.
Thunder Rosa.
Yeah, but with what Britt Baker has said about her sandbagging and everything like that on air, I don't think that happens because you have Hikaru Shida who's played that role. Plus, they could easily bring back Rebel for at least the night.
But they won't because they don't want Rebels to heel for them, apparently, which is the dumbest thing in the world. I was like, really? That girl's hilarious. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah. She was over before Britt was over, to be honest, when she kept calling her Reba. You know what I mean? And then, here's the deal. Those two have had to talk. Those two have had to squash it. Rumor is Thunder Rosa apologized to the whole women's locker room. Who knows what's really going on? But I don't see that being an issue. I think if they are hoping to bring Thunder Rosa back, that is the window to do it. Shida, for fuck's sake, she's been in the top since AEW started. For fucking put her somewhere else for now. Like, Shida was one of those ones that for some reason was a champion forever, but there was no story with anything she was doing.
Yep.
It was just a match after match after match, and it just didn't work. Sorry, guys. But yeah, so Jamie Hayter wins. I think. We'll see. And then, you got your main event, guys. The 4 pillars: MJF, Jungle Boy, Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara. Who is going to win? I'm a little sad they're doing an actual 4 pillars match.
Yeah.
Just because you were calling them the 4 pillars doesn't mean we had to do the fatal 4-way match, though. Like, I personally would love to see story involved and have these guys go on their own title track. You know what I mean? I don't need to see all 4 of them doing it at the same time because they're all 4 amazingly talented that they deserve the time to have these one-on-one feuds for that major title and have that major win on a pay-per-view, as opposed to, everybody keeps calling it 4 pillars, so let's just throw you all in the ring together, huh? Why? You could build so much great story with these 4 individuals. You already know that with MJF. We've seen Sammy Guevara do so many great things. Jungle Boy, and at some point have to stop calling him boy. So they better figure that out.
I think they're just going to go with JR's, not this JR, this JR, excuse me. Jim Ross's, Jungle Jack.
Jungle Jack Perry, and then Darby Allin. I mean, he's already been a champ. That was a TNT champ. I mean,
well, they've all been champions in some respect. Yeah.
But I mean, like, these guys, again, they all deserve their spot in that actual spotlight. So I hope we see that down the line.
Here's what I'd like to see, though. I'd like to see MJF retire Sting, not Darby. And then Darby can go after MJF, and then there's a reason.
Holy shit. Tony Khan, we can do a better show than you. Just come talk to us. You take care of the business end. You can't handle both. Come get the top shelf 2 count here, and we will fucking take care of everything for you.
I like how you're starting to call the top shelf 2 count. That's very clever there, Ace. I mean, I've been wanting to say it for years.
Misspoke.
Well, I felt bad because we're a minute or an hour 59 into the show, and Top Shelf's barely been mentioned.
And you didn't even get to do your golf promo yet. How's that going?
I wish there was more people willing to go out to shankitgolf.com, either through my pages on social media or even just using shankitgolf.com and actually buy something. So far, I've only had people go there using my my link in my profiles, but it's fine. Not a big deal. But Top Shelf, all one word. Yeah, I know you have. But all one word, Top Shelf, if you want 15% off, man. You get this cool hat. There's a bunch of polos. Hell, I mean, I'm sure Ace probably needs a new golf glove, but you know, he can wear it on the show. It says "You suck" right across the middle finger. He can use it every time. Actually, you know, I should get JR one of those gloves. He can use it every time he needs to say something to me.
No, I looked at it. After my golf trip, I might get a couple polos, but
yeah. But anyhow,
money is a little tight for vacation.
Yeah, very true. Especially considering at the end of the month, by the end of the month, we still got to make a payment on the Jericho cruise.
Oh, yeah, baby. Next cruise payment.
Right. But anyhow, the way I see this is there's no reason to take it off of MJF because everybody else that's in this match has won lesser titles and really didn't do anything great with it. Darby Allin was probably the better of the TNT champions that are in this match. I think his reign was better than Sammy Guevara's. That's also because he took it off of Cody and then lost to Miro, which was a good transition, and he was solid in all of his matches and stuff. Sammy's got convoluted with the whole Scorpio Sky shit back and forth between Cody and Sky and whatever else. So, and then also all the hate towards him being with Ty Conte and all that, or Ty Mello. So,
which if they want to keep it ill, he is the perfect one to drop it on.
Yeah, and then Jack Perry has been a tag champion, and the only thing he really has going for right now is the fact that he is dating Anna Jay. I think most people would.
That's enough.
Yeah,
what
I think that's
you need.
I mean, I guess, but that's one of those things where people say all that stuff and care a little bit too much about who people are dating and all that sort of stuff. But reality is, he's a fine wrestler, but it's just not his. He's not in the right position. He's not the right character right now. I think he needs to cut his hair and go a different direction. From Jungle Boy, he needs to disassociate, change his ring gear, all that sort of shit.
Yeah,
so
I just don't know if he has the mic capability to be.
I think you're right there.
Yeah.
And the other thing is too, when I think about him without that hair, I think about it's even worse.
He should just cut his hair like his dad and do like a 90210 character.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking. Like, do like a 90s, like just do like a grunge character, man. You could just straighten it out because him having the frizzy, wavy hair, curly hair. You're a dude in wrestling.
He should just go emo.
Maybe. Yeah, he could.
He just comes out and cries and cuts himself a little bit. And
Ace is just looking for another wrestler for Sad House. I get it.
Book him for Sad House.
He could be a more effeminate Raven.
That would actually be a bad thing. Because we never really got a conclusion to the flock in WCW outside of just everybody disbanded after Perry won or Perry Saturn won. But that's a whole different.
Yeah, that's for another night.
Yeah, because we're already after 9 o'clock, so we're already running a little bit behind. But fantastic show. Thank you, Nic Nolan, by the way.
Usually I'd be like, whatever, but I'm done with work at noon tomorrow and then it's vacation, so I don't give a shit.
I only got one more day before I'm on vacation, too. So
yeah, baby. Well,
quick.
Coming soon to the 2 Count.
Next week, we will not have John Russell.
No.
Thank heavens. Thank heavens. Hang on a second. I just need to pull this up. So next week, we have Austin Bayless coming from Bridge City Slam CEW Central Empire Wrestling. Dude. June 3rd, they have a giant show. It's Bridge City Slam Legends Fan Fest Pro Wrestling Show. You got Jimmy Hart, Deborah, Kurt Angle, bunch more names, Bob Orton, Earl Hebner. We're going to actually, one of the matches on there is going to be a banger. We're going to see AJ Smooth taking on Josh C with Earl Hebner.
Oh, wow.
So that's going to be
cool. Hey.
Yeah.
Did we sponsor that match? We should have. I mean, we had both those guys on here and stuff, so.
Yeah, might have to ask Austin about that. Might be a little late, though, since the show's coming up real soon. But we're going to talk to him, and we're going to find out more about Bridge City Slam. It's his biggest show of the year. Very excited to have Austin on. And then just give you a little bit of preview action after that one. We've got Amina Belmont coming through the Tuesday after on June 6th. And I'll tell you what, if you have not seen who Amina Belmont is, go online, look up Madhouse Wrestling, Amina Belmont, Maggie Lee, and you can watch one hell of a match. And we're excited to have Amina Belmont. Very, very new to the wrestling world. You would never tell.
Yeah, she was great that night with Maggie, and even Madhouse threw it up on their Instagram story. So I believe that link is available through their YouTube page. So go find Madhouse on YouTube, and it is up on IWTV as well.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. We got some other guests that we got coming through. We'll share that news later, and we're always booking. If someone you want to on the show, let us know. We'll reach out.
Or if you have suggestions.
Not everybody answers, but I'll definitely try. So yeah, that's cool. There might be a new episode of the Briscoe Big A show tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure. We couldn't record Monday because they were getting hit with storms and Wes had no power. So yeah,
Excuses.
Yeah, I know, right? But
Sorry,
otherwise, though, yeah, I mean, watch our social medias, the 2 Count. I'm sure there'll be a little bit of active going on Sunday night during Double or Nothing. So watch for that. You guys got anything coming up?
Nothing till June 30th. Devil's Lake, whatever the casino is up there.
I am in Grattinger, Iowa on the 9th of June. So I'll promote that again next week and then next week after that. But
Iowa fam, get out.
Tom Shillstrom. Huh?
Get
what?
out. I said, Iowa fam, get out there.
Yeah, no shit. I mean, all these.
Grattinger's close to anybody, too.
Well, so that's the whole thing. It's right off of US 169, which runs through our fair state here of Minnesota and goes straight down to ye old Iowa. And it's not too far from Algona or Fort Dodge and those miserable fucking towns. I had to do commentary there. Those motherfuckers can come out and see me do comedy too.
Just
miserable pricks.
Let's be honest. You're not nearly as mean doing comedy as you are on this show.
That's true. If you guys want to see me be nice to fucking Iowans, just go ahead. Iowans? What do you fucking call them, JR? Doesn't matter.
If you're from there, it's Iowan. If you're from Minnesota, it's Iowegian.
I'll call them Iowans. I like that. It doesn't have some weird G in it. Yeah. But no, Grattinger, Iowa, June 9th. I think it's at a golf course. So I might just head down a little early and take some swings and maybe play around.
Shanky Golf.
ShankyGolf.com. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get some cards made up with a QR code just to get over to fucking Shanky Golf, baby.
Hey man, I can't wait. I'm leaving town Thursday. I'm gonna be golfing all weekend for my birthday, so I'm excited.
Have a great time and happy birthday to you, buddy.
Thank you.
Ace is turning 40 again.
40, yeah, sure, whatever. That doesn't make me feel any better. Like,
nope.
Turning 30 again, then I maybe be like, yeah, but no, I'm just
40
old bastard.
JR, I would love to have your knees, though. Can you give JR your knees?
I just need one. The rest, the other knee's okay.
Fibs? You call them fibs?
Fucking Illinois bastards? I don't know.
We still got to make a way down to Illinois for a second wrestling show this summer sometime.
Maybe sometime in the fall.
Yeah, or fall. Our summer's pretty busy.
Or maybe next fucking year. I don't know, man. I'm fucking booked for so many shit things.
I know. Well, good show, boys. We'll see everybody next week, except for you, JR.
Yeah, that's how it goes. Bye-bye.
Losers.